Hello everyone, AYANEO has started making entry-level Android handheld consoles. I've been playing with this Air Mini for a few days, and the experience is fantastic. Let's start with a quick rundown of the specs. It has a 4.2-inch 4x3 LCD screen with a 1280 by 960 resolution and a 60Hz refresh rate. The screen's PPI is 381, and the official specs claim a max brightness of 500 nits, and it has a 4500 mAh battery. The processor used is the MediaTek G90T. This particular processor is being used for the first time in our domestic handheld consoles, though it was previously featured in the 2019 Redmi Note 8 Pro. In general, its performance is relatively similar to its sibling, the G99, with the CPU being less powerful than the G99. But the GPU is slightly stronger. The device comes in 2 RAM and storage versions, 2 plus 32GB and 3 plus 64GB with a 100 Yen price difference. Mine is the 2 plus 32GB version, in a red and white color scheme, which had a launch price of 499 yuan. Black and retro color options are also available. So, is this device truly worth that 499? Is the 499 yuan price tag worth it? Let me share my experience playing retro games to give you a reference. Many of you might be concerned about whether 2 or 3 gigabytes of RAM will cause games to crash due to insufficient memory. I've conducted extensive tests by running various games for long periods, and my findings indicate that neither PS2 nor NGC platforms experienced any crashes due to insufficient RAM. Crashes caused by insufficient RAM. I also spent a considerable amount of time playing games ported to Android and other mobile games, and their operation was consistently stable. I will now demonstrate the game performance across various platforms with a selection of titles. It's important to note that this machine cannot perfectly emulate PS2. Certain games demand specific settings adjustments, and the official statement indicates it can only handle a portion of them. PlayStation 2. For example, titles like God Hand can run at double resolution with a power draw of approximately 5 watts, so there's not much strain on the system. In game mode, with the brightness set to 70%, you can expect about 3.5 hours of operation. However, for graphically demanding games like God of War, we'll need to utilize red ether to lock the frame rate at a stable 30 frames per second. This technique was also covered in my previous videos. Although occasional frame drops may still occur in certain scenes, the overall experience remains quite playable. NGC and Wii are actually less challenging to emulate than PS2, allowing many games to run at 2 times resolution. However, certain scenes may still necessitate individual setting modifications. The G90T can effortlessly run older home console platforms. Many retro home console systems used a 4:3 aspect ratio, and this 1280 by 960 screen can precisely display them in a pixel-perfect manner. Additionally, PSP God of War can run at 3 times resolution without any problems during its introductory sequence. In some scenes featuring intensive special effects, you might experience minor frame rate drops. I also took the opportunity to test the joystick precision in this section with the 2 sisters. It's precise. Running God of War on PSP is pretty challenging, yet many other PSP games can run at 4x resolution or higher. A 16:9 aspect ratio image will appear on this screen at an effective display size of about 3.52 inches. For some of the older retro handheld devices, we can use an overlay in conjunction with a side loader. The G90T's performance easily handles running the side loader without any pressure or noticeable performance drops. On this particular screen, GBA games can achieve a 5x pixel-perfect display. Allow me to demonstrate the visual effect for you. So, when displaying a 3:2 aspect ratio game, the actual screen size is approximately 3.91 inches. The 3DS emulator isn't particularly optimized for non-Snapdragon CPUs. However, with the right settings, some games can still manage to run at a doubled resolution, the dual-screen display on this screen. The display still looks too cramped on this screen. The conventional decoding delay hovers around 10 milliseconds. Though this number may not appear exceptional, it remains perfectly suitable for gameplay. The unit weighs 273 grams, making it exceptionally compact and portable, easily slipping into a pants pocket. Its back is equipped with an ergonomic grip, offering a comfortable hold and eliminating any rigid feel. The D-pad and ABXY buttons are all made with conductive rubber, offering a moderate amount of pressure when pressed. The joysticks, which we previously tested with the two sisters, are Hall-effect joysticks, known for their excellent smoothness and precision. The shoulder buttons are also made of conductive rubber and are 8 centimeters long. The triggers are Hall-effect linear triggers, providing substantial key travel. You can see for yourselves. At the top, there are also two customizable LC and RC buttons, along with the power button, volume up and down controls, and an air vent. The dual S buttons are located on the bottom left side of the device, and to the right, you'll find AYA's traditional AYA button and a home button. The speakers are situated at the very bottom of the device, right at its base. There's also a covered TF card slot, a 3.5mm headphone jack, a USB-C charging port that supports 18-watt charging, a microphone port, and a charging indicator light. Looking at the whole machine, it's small but perfectly formed. Although it's an entry-level product, it still comes with a dual Hall effect configuration, with sensors and a rotor motor. On the software side, AYA's self-developed AYASpace is also available on this Air Mini. Just a long press of the AYA button will take you into the front-end software, making it very convenient to import and manage retro game data. A short press of the AYA button will bring up the quick settings window, allowing us to adjust performance modes and fan speed, or even switch controller modes while playing games. When we usually play handheld consoles, hardware is the foundation, but software is the crucial factor determining its usability. AYA's self-developed software suite offers a distinct advantage, effectively resolving the common issues of traditional retro handhelds, such as single functionality and chaotic compatibility. I'm aware that everyone wants to see a comparison with competitor products, but wouldn't that put me in an awkward position? Regarding the screen, its dimensions are smaller, and in terms of performance, to be honest, the competitors' offerings are indeed more powerful. However, this device's price point is a critical consideration. Given its demonstrated gaming performance, I think it offers strong competition and excellent cost-effectiveness in its segment. For those who prioritize portability, value multi-platform compatibility, and love playing retro games, the Air Mini is definitely a fantastic choice. Alright friends. Well, that concludes our initial experience with the AYA New Pocket Air Mini. I want to thank all of you for watching, and we'll see you again in the next episode.
Game over.
As for whether the joystick gets in the way, the joysticks are recessed, so I don't think they'll obstruct your hand unless you lay it completely flat on top.